driven right now. And then on the vacation rental side, yeah, I think they're going to pass that bill. That's been the indication. And it's technically what it's doing in the non-resort areas, meaning apartment zone and residential zoning, is taking it. You could rent your place out for a minimum of 30 days before. Well, still can. But if they pass the bill, then it will be most likely become a minimum 90-day rental that you have to do in the resort, in the residential and apartment zoning areas. So in regards to Kailua and these neighborhoods, I don't really understand the purpose of the bill. It doesn't make sense to me. They addressed the issue of short-term vacation rentals in residential areas with the previous bill. It cleaned that up. So they're just getting stronger on that and on that capacity now. There aren't a whole lot. I mean, they're trying to make some bend the rules a little bit on the 90-day for a couple of people like contract workers and stuff. Nurses coming here for a 3-month contract. But I don't see it. I don't think it's going to have a big impact on Kailua. That impact that already happened. They wiped out the vacation rental capacity there before. So I don't think it's going to affect us that much.
Oh, interesting. So the impact, and that was the impact has already been sort of priced in Kailua. They've already kind of they're already feeling the effects of the short-term vacation rentals. This one's not going to make it that much worse. Is that it?
Yeah, it's not really going to change it. I mean, if you have an ADU anyway, your
ADU stands for
accessory dwelling unit.
Accessory dwelling unit.
Those are technically minimum 6-month rental, and 30 days, 90 days. I mean, 90 days does make a difference, but there aren't that many people that are renting their places out for 30 days at a time. Anyhow, most people are minimum 6 months to a year in the residential zoning. So it's a select few that it's going to target.
That's interesting. I thought that I was under the I had the impression, and I've been not, I don't follow it the way you do, that, Kailua was almost practically a resort town. Like almost all the stuff going on over there was Airbnb stuff, but apparently that's not so much the case.
So the previous bill that they passed made it illegal for you to advertise on Airbnb, and it made the sites, it held the sites accountable as well for allowing you to advertise for less than 30 days. So that is not allowed anymore, and it's a stiff fine. It's like $10,000 per offense. I know someone who just actually got a $20,000 fine for incorrect wording on Airbnb and they had it for a 30-day rental, but the wording wasn't quite right, and they got a $20,000 fine from DPP. So all that was taken care of in the previous bill. That was like 3 years ago. Now, why they're coming back with this one, I don't understand it. It doesn't make sense to me.
Interesting. We'll see how it goes. Patrick is asking, how would they even enforce these rental durations? That's a good question. Scott, you want to?
It's purely an advertising thing at that point. Or if your neighbor complains and DPP comes over and there's someone there, I mean, I can't see them saying, hey, we want to see your rental lease, because there's some private information there. They don't have, they're not allowed to have access to that. But if you're advertising it for less than 90 days, say, then you're going to run into problems. Because in that article that came out yesterday, DPP even said they're going to hire someone specifically for that kind of enforcement. So it does look like they're going to try to step up on the enforcement side.
Yeah, I'd say it's probably not that, Patrick, to Scott's point, it's probably not that hard, because you can go, a quick search on Airbnb will tell you right away, right? And so, it doesn't take much. And I'm certain that, I'm confident that the Airbnb folks would supply city and county with some information and things like that. So compliant as they can be. Heidi, is there anything you want to comment on this topic overall? Do you see things kind of changing? I mean, there's changes in the air about, the housing market, vacation rentals, taking up housing, that whole kind of shift. COVID's kind of forced a lot of that. Have you been following that on Maui? Kind of, do you have what's your sense of kind of what's going on with that at all? You want to unmute?
Yeah, Maui County is extremely serious about enforcing legal vacation rentals, and the county does actually hire investigators to go online and look even in the middle of the night to try to find illegal ads and cut down on illegal rentals. but there are lots of places on Maui where you can legally vacation rent. So, I mean, if that's your goal, that should really be the focus. The good thing is, there's not a lot of gray area about it. However, Maui County, there are some proposals in front of Maui County Council to further limit vacation rentals in the future. Um, we have a list, it's called the Minatoya properties of all these apartment zoned areas that it's been codified into Maui County Code that they are legal vacation rentals, but the original zoning didn't allow for it. So one of the proposals was once these properties are sold, the new owner can no longer vacation rent that property. Well, I mean, there's been a ton of opposition to that. So I honestly don't know if that's even, going to happen or not. But there's another proposal that we could only have vacation rentals in the sea level exposure area, so like right along the ocean. And then they would want to convert legal vacation rentals that were farther away from the ocean back to residential. So, I mean, it's always an ongoing discussion on Maui, and I mean, it always has. Because I
There's a
mean,
lot.
there's balance of tourism and having affordable housing and a number of other factors. But I could never, I mean, recommend that somebody think that they could successfully operate an illegal vacation rental. I mean, the fines are just too huge and it just wouldn't be worth it.
It used to be the way, yeah, frankly, I'm glad that the enforcement is finally working. It used to be, and this must have changed, Scott, because, years ago, long time ago, there was no enforcement whatsoever. It was just like the Wild West. And clearly that has, Scott, you're nodding. Clearly that has changed. Go ahead.
Yeah, so that bill that passed prior to that, it was on DPP's side to figure out if you were doing it illegally. Now it flipped it, and it puts the onus on the owner to be able to prove that you're not doing that, and it's much easier. It gave DPP teeth, is what it did, and the only time prior to that bill passing, essentially your neighbor had to complain because they didn't want to touch anything. It was way too much work to do it. Who I do see getting impacted by this bill are people who want to transition over here into short-term housing while they're looking to buy a home, or military transitioning over here. 3 months is the minimum. It's not too bad, but if you're wanting a 1 month or a 2-month rental, you're not going to be able to do that. If someone's building their home and it's finishing construction and they need some transition period, then you could fall into that 30-day to 90-day zone where you do get impacted by this.
So basically what you're going to need, basically what it comes down to on Oahu is if it's not going to be a 90-day or more, you're just going to have to get a vacation condo in Waikiki or in Ko'olina or in the North Shore. Those are your three places. And frankly, Waikiki is not a bad place to live. I mean, I lived there when I first moved here for at least a couple of years. And I'm certain you could find some kind of a condo unit.